Hi, what's up? As you guys know, I started living in Brisbane, Australia since last year, and I have just finished first year, and I'm now on second year of my study abroad right now. So if you guys have been following my YouTube channel over the past year, maybe you will know what I mean, right? So I have experienced so much in the past year. Of course, learning English is one of them. Anyway, I want to take a look at this video a little bit. After graduated high school, I directly worked in company. I came to Tokyo. How did you feel about that? This was my English proficiency before gonna study abroad. To be honest, I've learned English since I was a student in English language college in Japan when I was 20 years old, and I transferred to community college in the US, and I have a diploma now. But I couldn't actually stay in the US because of COVID-19. That was so suck. Yes, and right now, here I am. As you can see, my English has improved to this level like when I found out. So I'm gonna share how my English has improved to this level in a year, and what did I do in the past year to improve my English. Okay, let's talk about first month of study abroad. Back then, I was fucking shocked that I couldn't hear what people are saying at all. Because I was like, I literally only understood English as English at the time. In other words, there are also many dialects in Japan such as Kansai-ben, Hyojungo, Hakata-ben, and something like that, right? But at the same time, I had forgotten when it comes to English. When I went to a supermarket to buy some ingredients, go to the bank to open an account, I remember I was struggling to understand what the clerk was saying at all. And I was like, oh shit, my English is not working here. That is why the first difficulty I had was listening. I was like, I have to improve my listening skill first before speaking. Because if I couldn't hear what they were saying, I wouldn't be having the conversation in the first place, right? I would say 100%. Second month of study abroad. I have been trying to use the English as much as I can in my workplace since I've got a job, which is Japanese restaurant here. But at the same time, English I use was just normal English. It's not like real local English, you know. Most of the customers are Australian, but they have only talked to me English in a formalic way, which are, can I get how can I say, we are table for two, something like that. So I was able to serve them easily. But at the same time, the people said joke to me, but I couldn't understand them at all. So I was like, yeah, just smile face or just laughing, something like that. Yeah, I remember I was disappointed in my English ability at the time. That's because at least I have learning English before I come, which means my English wasn't zero. Yeah. When I was in Japan, I was focusing the phrases I use. For example, when I order something at the coffee shop or open an account at the bank, as I told you before. But I realized that is no, because we need to not only speaking but also need to have a conversation with others. Back then, I was thinking how I can get used to real conversations. One day, one of the friends recommended watching movie in English to me, so I tried it out. That was biggest mistake. There are several convincing reasons. First one is I can't concentrate to watching long movie in English. Second one is I'm not good at watching it again for my learning because I realize I just want to enjoy it. Third reason is I'm so frustrated in the first place because I have to stop it many times when the words I don't know come up. I just want to say it's useless if you don't continue, so I decided to change the learning method immediately. The method I used was casually watching YouTube video I'm interested in, which are vlog and interview to other countries' people. This is also what I'm doing right now because I can know how people spend their money, what impression do people have of Japanese, and what culture difference exists between us. And I was like very enjoying to do it because I was curious. 3rd month of study abroad. Here, I realized one fatal thing. I can also be done in Japan, right? Does it make sense? Back then, I was just input English kind of studying darn at the desk. Oh shit bro, it's too late. I wanna say it to myself back then. There were no opportunity to use what I learned with real people as face-to-face. Therefore, I wasn't able to feel like the successful that caused problem for improving. And thus, I decided to go to language school to make friends, and then I wanted to try how my English I've learned works. So I finally got the opportunity to hang out with my friend by entering the school, and I was like, oh my god, I can hear, I can do it. And I felt like, oh man, they understand what I'm saying, which means I can speak English. That was my first success experience, leads to confidence. 6 months of study abroad. Back then, it has been 6 months of living in Australia. I met one Aussie girl whose name is Kyra through the app, and then we were hanging at the Felons, Felons was a popular brewing to drink beer together. At the time, I was actually broken, you know what I mean? I felt like Aussie English, which is native, and English I learned is completely different. I was like, what the fuck? They speak so fast, and word they use were linked each other. I was like, I don't like to talk to native anymore. Yeah, so I would say again, native and myself English is completely different. And I was like, I was so afraid of talking to native people, but at the same time, I think if you just started to learn English, I highly recommend that you should start from the international student. Yeah, conversation with international students is very fine for you maybe because it's mental factor. After all, I realized that I needed more exposure to native English. So I started to try to use words or phrases what I learn when I work and make sure it's correct or not by seeing the customer's reaction. That was fucking impressive. When I got proper answer from them, I felt like so much more confident. For example, they said to me, if you say, can you move a little bit to the person already seated to open up some space for guiding the customers next to him is a little bit rude. Yeah, so you should fix it to the can you scoot over or something. Yeah, it's more appropriate way. Yeah, I assure that the best parts of studying abroad is like you can realize and solve your mistake in your daily life. 1 year of my study abroad. Okay, on February 2023, I decided to move to Cairns, where it's famous for a Great Barrier Reef, to get second working holiday visa. And I also decided to leave the share house where was the English environment. So because I really wanted to share mates who speak English as a mother tongue. Obviously, I really obsessed with English at the time. The house I lived had 3 rooms and 1 balcony and 1 shared living space, but I was always in the shared space to make English opportunity. That's why most of the time I had to spend my time with share mates. I noticed one change in myself. I was no longer afraid to speak English. That was the moment I broke my barrier against English. So I think that I have always been in shared space actually came from changing my mindset. I would say with confidence that talking with them in daily life made me English improved. Because if I had stayed in my room every time back then, I guess no one would have talked to me. As a result, the opportunity I exposed to English had a more increased compared to when I was shut up at home and always input or afraid of talking to native speakers. There's one thing I've learned from my experience so far. The biggest difference between us and native when it comes to English is amount of information that can be spoken in English. For example, it's pretty easy for me to talk and ask about my study abroad and my life in English. I think because I have enough information to talk about these in the first place. However, if that is gonna be political things and robot things or something like that, I'm not gonna understand what people said because bunch of words I don't know come up, I guess, but native people can. Nothing else. They are native. Now I can speak relatively well except for slang and people who speak so fast. I don't feel like frustrated when I speak English. What I learned from my English experience and felt like it was worth is that I always have faced and overcome problems each steps of my English skill. I faced a listening problem, so I looked for a way to study it, and I was struggling with keeping study, so I found out study method suits me. Finally, I'm convinced those experiences brought me here, but I'm still English learner. はいってな感じで今ね僕オーストラリアのワーキングホリデー2年目にね差し掛かってるんだけど今でちょうど3ヶ月目ぐらいかな。この1年間で英語がね自分の中で結構伸びたかなっていうのは1年目終わった直後ぐらいやったら全然ね感じることができなかったんだけど、この2年目に入って実際にこっちに来てから俺の英語ってちょっとは伸びたんやっていう自信がね少しだけついたのでじゃあどうやってこの1年間僕がこの英語と向き合ってきたんかっていうところをみんなにね見せていきたいなと思ったので今日はこういう動画を撮らせていただきました。はい、そんな感じでねこれからも英語のこういう内容だったりとか英語で喋るねこういう動画だったりとか、あとはね最近やってる旅の映像だったりとか変わらずオーストラリアの留学情報みたいなところもねどんどんこれから流していきたいなと思ってるので、ぜひねこの動画が良かったなと思ったら僕のねチャンネル登録してくれると嬉しいかなと思います。そんな感じでね今日はこんな感じで終わりたいと思います。Thanks mate, peace.